Welcome to Mighty Married Moms. Join us at our kitchen table twice a week as the Mighty Married Moms, Debbie, Linda, Wendy,
invite spectacular guests to weigh in on staying sexy, vibrant, and healthy,
building marriages with soul-satisfying connection, raising happy, healthy, successful kids. Conversations with Mighty Married Moms will bring you closer to the life you really want. Episode 69.
Good morning, everyone. Mighty Married Moms here. Glad to be here today, and we're very happy to be having a wonderful guest whose work is very near and dear to my heart. She's a marriage and relationship educator. I'd like to introduce you to Aja Dorsey Jackson. And since 2011, author and blogger Aja Dorsey Jackson has been teaching couples how to make love in the microwave. Yep. And that is not as hard as it sounds. Today she'll be talking to us about what busy couples can do to stay connected to one another even when they're short on time. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Welcome, Aja. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And just to remind everybody, I'm Wendy Williams, and my work is with connectagain.org, and we have
Debbie Owen at youcanraisegreatkids.com.
And Linda Tighe at allwellbreaksloose.com.
Yes. So welcome, Aja. Tell me, how did a blogger or tell us how you got to the place where you wrote a book about making love in a microwave?
Well, it actually started with the blog, and the blog actually started with my own experience. It really was just that being super busy, not having time, being basically newlywed and having a new baby and losing a job and buying a house and starting a business and all of these things coming together in once. And having us always saying to each other about when we get the money and when we have the time and when we, and that when we was never happening. So it really was just me. It started with me saying, well, if I start, doing these little things every day, because what if that when we doesn't happen, can we do better at this? And out of that came the blog and then the book. So.
That's great. So the inspiration to actually write the book was, I have so much material here. People really, a broader audience than whoever reads my blog needs to know it. Is that?
Yeah, well, I would have people, coming to the blog and really liking what they were getting from it and really asking for, more of that. And then I had kind of put together a little jump start that was free, that's still there, that people use. But, people kind of wanted more. So I just put a lot of that together and added more to it and put it together into a book.
That's awesome. That's very inspiring as well, because I think that there are a lot of people who have blogs that listen to us, I believe, and and to kind of package it all together and get that out in another format. It's really, really great, because, we all need to help one another out. So I appreciate that.
Aja, can you remind us again, what's the URL address for your blog?
It is www.makingloveinthemicrowave.com.
Oh, that should be easy to remember.
There you go. Yeah. I bet that wasn't taken when you went in to look at that URL.
It was not.
There you go. Well, great. So you got to start us off with, say, 3 amazing tips that are quick and quick hits that you can help share from a woman's perspective.
So 3 things that people really seem to like. One is taking the trip down memory lane. I have that in the jump start, and it's really just either with Spotify or YouTube or whatever, music that you have, just really listening to some of those things that you listened to when you first met. And that's a really quick, really simple, doesn't cost you any money, but just really gets you back into that mindset of, wow, this is how I remember meeting this person and initially connecting with this person. And I think that people love that one.
So. Yeah. So you suggested like making a little playlist of 3 or 5 songs that part of that coming together courtship time.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Usually once you start doing that, it goes on for even longer than 15 minutes, but good to get it started.
That's great.
That is good. I love it. I want to go do it now. Stop and record. No,
exactly.
I can imagine that even just leads to some dancing in the living room.
Yeah,
together.
exactly.
Good. Yeah. Good.
A second one, and this is one because I do try to incorporate things that you can do on your own and not that you necessarily need each other for. And reason being, sometimes it doesn't necessarily take the other person for you to be doing a better job as a spouse.
That's true.
So one thing that I try to tell people to do is really just sit down and make a gratitude list of, the things that you're thankful for
Yes.
about your spouse, because those things can get so lost in the day-to-day. And when you really just sit there and say, list 10 things that, without this person, like for me, without my husband, like I never have to worry about taking care of my car issues, just simple things like that, but that really do mean a lot. That can get lost in the shuffle. So that's one that I stress, just constantly coming back to that gratitude piece of it.
And what strikes me about what you just said about the fact that you can do that on your own, you can come up with that list of 10 things, and that really feeds into something that probably as a fellow marriage educator you're familiar with. Even if I never share those things with my husband, even if I never say, these are 10 things I love and appreciate about you, if what it does, it changes our own chemistry
Absolutely.
and our own brain to have that positive, respectful regard for that person. So even if you just review those 10 things and they walk in the door, you emanate an energy and a positive regard for that person that's going to go a long way. And you don't even have to use your words at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It just changes your mindset. So
Change your mindset.
Yes.
Once again, mindset. That word comes up so many times with our guests. It's very interesting. So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. And then, one last thing, which really doesn't even take 15 minutes, is to just send a text with something that's not related to, can you pick up ground beef for dinner, or, just something that is just nice. Like, I had fun last night, or, I appreciate you, or just something that is positive, that is not task related, because that's another thing that we can get so drawn into, just constantly, you need to do this, I need to do this bill needs to be paid, these kids need to be picked up, we need this from the supermarket. But just taking a break from that, and a text just takes 20 seconds at the most to send, but it does mean a lot to see that and say, oh, he or she was thinking about me in this moment, and express that. So
in fact, my husband last night, he got on the train and sent me a text, and it said, your big hug is on the train and on the way home, see you soon.
That's
Cute.
And I'm sure that made your day. It's those little things like that I try to stress that make a huge difference in your day-to-day.
Yeah, I've read that even in organizations that more important than getting a raise or even being paid more money is recognition and appreciation.
Yes, absolutely.
So of course the best place to be doing it would be at home. With
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. One funny thing I have this weird thing in my head that every time I see, now that we have digital clocks are more often seen than the face clocks, when I see the number 6:24, either in the evening or in the morning, I say, oh, God's saying hello to me, because that's my birthday, June 24th.
Oh.
So my husband I say, oh, look, it's 6:24. It's a great moment. And he's like, So what he's taken to doing very often, most mornings, I get a text at 6:24 that says, good morning, I love you, how's it going, da 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 da.
I love that.
Great?
I love
So
that.
on that text note, on my Android, I don't know about anybody else's, but you can schedule texts.
Nice.
So his birthday is 10:05, October 5th. So at 10:05 in the morning, I've scheduled like 5 days ahead, a little something that's going to go on specific times. So a little hint about the texting thing.
Yeah. Is that an app, or does that like?
No, it's in my texting thing. You can schedule a text.
I'll have to look into that.
Right?
Hey, that's a good one.
Yeah.
These are great little tips. I like these a lot.
Thank you.
Good ideas.
Thank you.
Good ideas.
Yeah.
I was wondering, this is a great thing for just engendering kind of regular contact and just thinking about you during the day and kinds of things. What about couples that are having kind of larger issues? Are these the kinds of things that will help them, or are there some other suggestions that you could make for couples that are struggling with things right now?
I think, one, I always would suggest education, whether that's counseling, whether that's workshops, whether that's, getting that education. But I do think that that does not mean that you can't take these things and use them. I think I kind of compare it to like having a big mess at home. If you have a room that's just this huge mess and you look at it and you think, oh my God, I can't do anything.
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. But if you take, clean up 5 things every day, you're still making progress there.
Right.
Even if it's small and even if it's, not something that looks significant. I think that when we get to the position where we say, you know what, this is so bad that I can't do anything, that's when we really, do a lot of damage. When you can kind of look and say, what can I do here? And, I think taking these tips will still help you, even if you, are in a place where you're having a lot more problems than just, the sort of everyday we need to connect with one another.
Yeah. I saw something online yesterday about a woman who was giving, I think she's a parenting expert of some sort, and she said, I think I shared this with you, she said, when you're being driven crazy by your child, in this particular case, because it's a parenting thing, if you're being driven crazy by your child, if you reframe it as my child is being, you typically say my child is being a problem, and you get your blood pressure goes up. If you verbalize it as my child is having a problem, it helps you kind of go, and get a better distance.
Yeah.
And so if you're having larger problems like Debbie alluded to in your marriage, and your husband comes in cranky or whatever's going on, whatever the larger problem is, if you can say, my person is having something, they're stressed, they're under duress.
Instead of they are cranky.
Or they're being mean to me, just say there's something going on with this person, and that would really help.
It does. And I think, there's one thing that I saw and I've written about on my blog, but it's taking a nice vacation, just taking a day or a weekend, just be as nice as possible, regardless of what that other person is doing. And I think that those types of things, even if they aren't getting to those really deep issues, they do, as we talked about earlier, help to change your mindset about the situation that you're having.
That's great.
So I'm just curious, why in your book you talk about why do you stress time management and routine over romance?
I stress that because, I think that when you're young and you're engaged and you're newlyweds, you feel like, oh, this is always going to be, this wonderful, happy, like organic coming together type of thing. It's not, and I think that being able to build those routines into your day and say, if nothing else, we're going to spend 10 minutes together. If nothing else, we are every day going to give each other a kiss in the morning. You guarantee that at some point you're connecting with each other. When it gets hard, when it's easy, you're always maintaining that connection. If you rely on sort of the feeling of wanting to do that to come to you and, it to just happen, it doesn't happen. So that's why I stress, making time for it, making it a part of your day, as, not romantic as that sounds, it really leads to, romance and connection and happiness.
It's kind of like good romance hygiene, right?
Exactly. I compare it to brushing your teeth. You wouldn't brush your teeth once and say, okay, I'm done for the month. You have to do it every single day. It's right.
Your problems, right?
Right. Exactly.
That makes, I think that makes a lot of sense. Nurturing on a regular basis and forming good habits in your relationship on nurturing your relationship.
Exactly.
What it brings to mind is what home, the notion of home represents to me, and I'm sure many other people, of tradition, and this is how we roll. Like every Christmas time, whatever, or every holiday, this is how we do it. And so if you know that in a day, I know that every night before we go to sleep, we review the good things that happened in our day, whatever that piece of that so it kind of builds on that notion of tradition, and this is how we operate as a family or as a couple.
Exactly.
I like that a lot.
Exactly.
Right. And as we talk with Debbie all the time about, and then we're setting the example for our kids to then become good partners and be in healthy relationships in their future.
Yeah.
Because they do what you do.
Exactly. Do what you say.
Absolutely. They do what they see. They do what they experience. So
Yeah.
Hey, do you have any cool stories from people that you can say they went from A to Z because of putting some microwave tips into their life?
Well, a lot of what I get are people who they kind of latch on to one or two things and are like, this is wonderful, so it might not be that they read the whole book and they're like, we do all of these things all of the time, but I do have people that are like, we did that trip down memory lane and we do that all of the time now, and it's really helped us to connect. A lot of the people that do the jump start love it, because I think what happens is, like, I post a lot of challenges on my Facebook page, and people will look at them and be like, why is this even a challenge? Kiss your spouse every day. People should be doing that all the time. People don't realize how disconnected they actually are until they start taking part in these challenges, and they're like, oh wow, I did not realize that we actually weren't spending 10 minutes together every day. People see that and they're like, 10 minutes, that's who doesn't spend that amount of time. But I have people all the time saying, I did this and I realized that I wasn't doing that. And now, we are so much more connected, and I'm just more aware of the need to do it.
It just shows how daily life can really take our eye off the ball and be such a huge distraction. And it's amazing. Like if you were to say, take 10 minutes every day to make sure that your kids have enough clean clothes and brush their teeth, you'd be like, why? Of course. Right.
Exactly.
But it's important because you want your child to be, healthy and happy and well cared for and well fed. And so the relationship needs to be happy, healthy, cared for, and well fed.
Right.
Too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we know how to do these things. We just have to remember. And I think your book and all these tips, they're so quick. The awareness level goes right up, and they are easy to implement, sounds like to me. Yeah.
Easy to implement with a large impact.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is, and that's what I go for. Like, a lot of us don't have time to plan out these really fancy, like, weekends or date nights or all of these things. And people get overwhelmed and they're like, well, I'm just not going to do anything. And my goal is to say, you can always do something. You might not be able to take the vacation to Hawaii, but you can have a date night at home and, play a card game or whatever it is with each other, and that can still have a big impact.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe your next book should be Romance on a Budget.
That's a good idea.
I mean, it's
true.
It's definitely so right about that. People think, oh, we have to plan out this big thing and it's expensive, or, we just don't have the means to do it. But
exactly.
I love what you're talking about. You do. There's so many things you can do.
Okay, so like I have a date night written with these 3 things that you talked us at the top of our conversation. I would send a cool text, say, can't wait to see you tonight. And you bring me the top 3 playlist on Spotify of our songs from when we were dating, and I'll bring my top 3, and we'll meet after dinner. We'll play them for each other, and then I'm going to tell you 5 things I'm grateful for about you. Boom.
See? And it's free.
It's free.
It's free. You didn't spend any money to
Right,
do that.
exactly. And these are only 3. I have to get the book and get all, 900
exactly. All 150.
150. Wow, that's awesome.
That's great. Definitely.
Yeah. I also really appreciate what you're talking about in terms of building it in, because I think that's what happens, why people end up talking or ruminating about this is just not working out. We're not dealing well, is because they've let they've let themselves go,
Mhm.
right? They're not exercising their relationship skills. They're not eating well. They're not
Mhm.
nourishing themselves.
Right.
And all of a sudden you wake up and you go, I feel sick. I
Mhm.
feel nauseous. And I just
Absolutely.
gotta, or this job, whatever it is. And you just,
Mhm.
but it's because you have been asleep,
Mhm.
unconscious, not putting time and effort in.
Mhm. And that's what, a piece of what I talk about. You can't be in neutral ever. You're never really just coasting. Either you're moving forward or you're moving backward. You're not just ever just sitting. You can't do that. And I think it's just like when you think about a body, you didn't get overweight or out of shape or any of those things
Yeah.
by eating one cupcake. You did it every day by making the wrong choices.
Right.
So when you get to that point that you are out of shape and you need to get back in shape, you have to make those little changes to get back there. That's not going to happen overnight either. So that's part of what I like to tell people. It didn't happen overnight, and it's not going to
Be fixed overnight.
either.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's very wise.
It does. It takes time. It's an intentional effort over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are a couple of the most popular posts on your blog that people really resonate with?
Let me see. I have a Post-it challenge that people like, and that is just writing down on a Post-it. It can be anything. It can
You
be
mean like the yellow stickies?
the yellow stickies. I really appreciate what you did for me and sticking that somewhere, or, I really want to do this with you, sexy thing today.
Yeah.
That, and stick that somewhere. People love that challenge because it's so easy, cheap, and gets a really big response. So that's one of the most popular
Yeah.
So
posts on the site.
That's such a great idea. I just love that. I just love it. I think it's awesome. So how do you work with people? How can people connect with you? Is it mostly through your blog and reading your book? Do you do classes?
I do coaching, individual coaching. So I do have that information on my blog. I'm a trained facilitator with Prepare Enrich. So they can connect with me that way. Or, I'm very accessible via my blog, via email, on Facebook, if people want to connect with me or have questions.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Do you ever have webinar classes or?
I haven't yet. That's something that I've kind of played around with the idea of, so it may be.
Oh, good. Yeah. We should talk.
We would come to your webinar.
Sure.
Oh, yay. Well, see, that gives me motivation to make.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I think that our time is winding down now, but I just wanted to thank you so very much.
Thank you.
I'm, I don't want to say goodbye, but I'm kind of itching to pick up my phone. And text I don't want to do that right now in the middle. But I really appreciate talking with you. Are you got any projects that are coming up that you're doing, or?
The next thing I'm working on is actually a book for blended families, for step families, which I am as well. So that one will be called Making Love in the Blender. So
Good.
I'm getting started on that. So I'm excited about that one.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, keep us posted. And so it's www.makingloveinthemicrowave.com.
Yes.
Okay.
And so you'll be apprising people of where you are in terms of that book launch.
Yeah.
Yes,
Great.
Absolutely.
Good. And plus people should be going there anyway directly at the moment they're hearing this, except if you're driving, don't do it that moment. But you need to be going to this website and getting these tips.
Yes.
These are gold.
Yes.
And I hope that you get equal traffic from men.
Yeah.
I do get some men, not equal, but I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, this has been a really powerful conversation,
Really
and I
wonderful.
said, I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to implement some of these things.
Thank you.
You are quintessential for what we do here with Mighty Married Moms, which is to try to bring really good practical information to women who really want to always to live the life they've always wanted.
Right.
So
Thank you.
you knocked it out of the park. So I'm glad that you came on.
Thank you so much. It was nice meeting you.
Consider coming back?
I absolutely would. Just let me know, and I'm here.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. MakingLoveInTheMicrowave.com and Aja Dorsey Jackson, and we are the Mighty Married Moms, Debbie, Wendy, and Linda, and we're signing off. So take care, everybody.
Thank you. And please subscribe on iTunes and leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, subscribe on iTunes. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Mighty Married Moms. Tune in twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays to meet fascinating and inspiring guests who will help you create the life you've always wanted.
You can find these episodes and special gifts just for you at mightymarriedmoms.com, as well as a link to our Facebook community,
where we continue the conversation around the kitchen table. Please also help share the love by leaving a review on iTunes. We'll see you next time.